Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope that you're having an amazing day, and I also hope that you've been able to make time for your art in your busy schedule. Remember that even though you may have only 10 or 15 minutes in any given day, use that time to sketch, paint, or whatever it is you can do, because those small, consistent steps are going to make you progress faster and further in your artistic journey. So sketching and drawing are absolutely fundamental for all types of artwork. It doesn't really matter if you plan on becoming a painter later on. I really think that developing a sketchbook habit is very, very important for any kind of artist at any point in their journey. So in today's video, which is especially for beginners, I'm going to be sharing the top 5 things that I wish I knew when I first started sketching. And by understanding and applying these things in your work, you're going to be able to progress your drawing skills a lot faster. Now, this video is more about creating quicker sketches than finalized, polished drawing. I really believe that being able to capture ideas down on paper in a quicker way, rougher way, is just as important as being able to develop those finalized, polished pieces. And real quick, before we begin, I just want to welcome all you new people just finding my channel. My name is Erica. I'm a traditional media illustrator, art blogger, and teaching artist that through this YouTube channel shares art tips, drawing and painting tutorials, and general encouragement for beginner and intermediate artists. I publish a brand new video every single Friday, so consider subscribing. And if you do, also click on that little notification bell so that there's more of a chance that YouTube will let you know when I publish a new video. Let's get into it, guys! My first sketching tip is going to be to know your tools. So you can sketch with many different tools, including charcoal, drawing pens, pastels, and even paint. However, since today's video is more directed towards beginners just starting to draw and sketch, we're going to be focusing more on basic pencils. And of course, as with any other area in art, it's going to be up to you to explore different techniques and keep working on it. And throughout time, you're going to be able to arrive at your personal favorite brands and tools, and you're going to be able to know which simply don't work for your technique and your style. All this said, even though I love exploration and I like to encourage exploration, there are definitely a lot of things that you don't need. And I really want to encourage you to work with what you have on hand and not spend too much money on unnecessary supplies, because I know that I definitely spent a lot of money on things that I ended up not using at all. To continue, I'm going to let you know the basic tools that you need and things that maybe at some point you could look into but are really not that necessary. The first thing you're going to need, of course, is paper. And of course, when you're just starting out and you just have regular paper on hand, that's perfectly fine to use. I do recommend, however, once you start getting into the habit of drawing, investing in an actual drawing or sketching paper pad or a sketchbook, which is even better. So the main problem with regular printing paper, or at least it was for me when I was using it in the beginning, is that it's so thin. So every time you try to erase something, you're damaging it and even crumpling it more and more. And that can be very frustrating. So I have found that when drawing, it's best to use a paper that is slightly thicker at least than regular paper and that has a smoother surface, unless you want a very textured drawing. In terms of pencils, I really recommend getting a few different grades, but you definitely do not need to get those huge pencil sets that have all of the different pencil grades in the world. Usually when I'm about to start a sketch, I like to have maybe an HB, a 2B, and a 6 or 8B. I generally don't even use the H pencil variety at all. So if you are completely unaware of what I'm talking about with the HBs and the Bs and the Hs and all of those things, and you want to know more about how pencil lead hardness and softness affect your drawings, and when you should be using each throughout your drawing process, I highly recommend that you visit my website at ericalancaster.com. Go to the blog section of my website, then click on the top banner, subscribe to become part of my insider group, and you're going to be able to get immediate access to a place in my website that is exclusively for my subscribers. And there you're going to be able to find 2 beginner mini courses that are completely free for you. One of those mini courses is titled Drawing for the Total Beginner, and they are each made up of 3 individual classes that come with their own exercises for you to complete before moving forward. So I highly recommend that if you're a beginner looking to start to draw. It's gonna set the foundation for you and it's gonna help you move a lot faster. So go and check that out. Another super important tool when you are sketching is your eraser, of course. For me, I really love my good old Pelican rubber eraser that is soft and it's especially intended for lead. I love it because it's soft, it doesn't damage my paper, and it erases everything pretty well. And aside from that eraser, another one that I adopted in the last year was the Mono Zero eraser, and it's great because it allows me to erase smaller areas whenever I need to get into small, tiny spaces. But if you don't want to invest in an eraser like the Mono Zero eraser, you can also just get a kneaded eraser, which will allow you to manipulate it and form smaller shapes that will allow you to erase smaller areas. I also really recommend getting a good sharpener that is not going to damage your pencils so that they can last longer. I like using a metallic sharpener. And of course, if you're interested in creating smooth blending effects and shadows, you can also start incorporating blending stumps into your supplies. Personally, I love using hatching and cross-hatching to give form and shadows to my sketches, so I am not going to be using my blending stump at all throughout this sketch, but I definitely use blending stumps when I am going for a more polished look. And it's definitely something that I recommend you get if you are interested in achieving more realistic values and shadows and textures. I'm going to be leaving links to the different sketching supplies that I use to create this hand sketch down below in the description box, in case you're interested in acquiring some sketching supplies yourself. You can use those links, and at no extra cost to you, you're gonna be helping out my channel a bit so that I can keep on providing useful and helpful content for you guys. That's it in terms of sketching supplies, and now we're going to move on to sketching tip number 2. And that is going to be to always start from most general and start working into details as you move forward. So when we start getting into drawing, most of us want to get into the details and smaller elements right away, but we have to learn to visualize everything we see as simple shapes so that we're able to achieve effective proportion and location of individual elements in relation to each other. And only after these things are achieved should we move on to smaller details. And this is incredibly important. It doesn't matter if you are drawing an anatomical element like the hand that I'm drawing in this video, or the human figure, or an object, or an animal, or even a landscape. Learn to visualize all of these things as combinations of simple shapes, and learn to relate all of these individual shapes in terms of size and location so that you're able to get proportion spot on before you even try to move on to anything else. And as you move forward with your drawing practice, you're going to be able to visualize anything you want to draw a lot easier, and you're gonna know exactly how to start it. Sometimes all you need is to be able to start with those simple shapes, and everything else just kind of flows after that. So it's imperative that you start out with the general elements, the general biggest shapes always. Okay, so we're moving on to tip number 3, and it's learning how to hold your pencil correctly. When we're first starting to sketch, it can take a little bit of time to get used to holding our pencil correctly. And this is only natural because from a very young age, we're taught to hold our pens and pencils in a specific way that is going to allow us a certain amount of control to be able to write. But the thing here is that we are not writing, we're drawing now, right? So we have to be able to make that switch and use our tools in a different way, even though they may seem very similar. So the main thing here is that you want to train your hand to be able to adapt to gripping your pencil in different ways that are going to allow you a greater freedom and movement. Usually when you are writing, you are very much in control of creating very neat letters, and you're only moving your wrist. But when you're drawing, you want to have a greater freedom and more movement in your arm. So start practicing holding your pencil from higher up, away from the tip, and explore holding it in different ways. In this sketch that you're seeing me draw right now, you're going to see me switch between the overhand and the underhand pencil grip. Something I also really recommend you try out at some point is sketching standing up, because this is going to allow your arm a greater movement and freedom. Just remember, guys, that even though holding your pencil this way might seem a little bit weird or even uncomfortable at first because you feel like you lack the control, you're gonna get used to it. And plus, always remember that you're supposed to start a sketch lightly. Remember that perfection doesn't exist. And being such a perfectionist is just going to paralyze you and keep you from moving forward. So just sketch as much as you can. It doesn't matter if it's a small sketch or a bigger sketch. Whatever it is, just keep on creating and keep moving forward and throw perfectionism out the window. Sketching tip number 4 is going to be to develop your observational skills by using references. And by using references, I mean either working from photographs or drawing from life. Many of us start by copying cartoon characters or copying previously made illustrations or even paintings or whatever it is. But I highly recommend, as soon as you can, make the switch to drawing from a photograph, from an actual photograph. And after you have enough skill using photographs, start incorporating drawing from life as much as you can. You're going to start seeing a huge development when you start doing this. And also, even though in the future maybe you want to develop more of a cartoony style, this is going to ensure that you have a realistic base and that you have created a mental library in your head of what things actually look like in real life. And plus, when you do this, there's a lot more of a chance that you're going to be able to arrive at your own unique style, because even though we're all obviously influenced by different styles and artists that we love, if you take something, grab visual information from something that you have in front of you in real life, and you're able to arrive at your own stylization instead of grabbing something that has been previously digested by another artist or illustrator, that means that you're arriving at something that is completely unique to you. And of course, I also highly recommend you start taking your own pictures and creating your own reference library as soon as you can. Practice your observational skills as much as you can and learn to recreate what things actually look like and not what you think they look like. Also practice constantly looking at your references while you're drawing and developing a good hand-eye coordination. And my last tip is going to be to make sketching a habit. So practice sketching as consistently as possible, and this is why I love sketchbooks so much. Get used to taking your sketchbook along with you throughout your days, and just whenever you have a free 5 to 10 minutes, take it out and do whatever you can. This is how I personally started making the most progress when I finally decided to get serious about my artwork. By creating these small sketches and little paintings in my sketchbooks, I progressed even though I was holding on to very, very demanding full-time jobs, working overtime, and going through major life changes. Never underestimate a small study. In my opinion, creating smaller studies in a consistent basis is gonna get you a lot further, a lot faster than creating one large painting every 5 months. So keep on sketching, guys, and treasure your sketchbooks. Okay everyone, so that is it for today. I hope that you found this video helpful and that it inspired you to go and do some sketching for yourself. I would love to know which of the 5 points mentioned throughout the video you find most difficult and which one you find easiest. So let me know in the comment section below. I'd love to hear from you. I'll be leaving a link to the blog post directly related to this video below in the description box, so you can go and check it out at my website. And also, FYI, there are a bunch of free resources for beginner and intermediate artists over there at my website that I would love for you to check out. I'd also love connecting with you through social media. I'm gonna make sure to leave my links below in the description box, so you can see what I'm up to on a daily basis and you can be amongst the first to learn whenever I publish new helpful content or products that will help you progress faster in your journey. Thank you so much for watching my video. I really appreciate every single one of you. Don't forget to like this video if you liked it, subscribe to my channel if you want to keep hearing from me, and I'll see you next Friday. Bye!